It all centred on Sancho being left out of the United squad that took on Arsenal last weekend. After the game, Erik Ten Hag was asked basically what's happened to Sancho. And he said on his performance in training, we didn't select him. He said you have to reach the level every day at Manchester United, something that Sancho apparently has not been doing to the level expected. It then actually led to Sancho responding via social media. So a sort of lengthy response. He said this: "Please don't believe everything you read. I will not allow people saying things that is completely untrue. I have conducted myself in training very well this week," he said. "I believe there are other reasons for this matter that I won't go into. I've been a scapegoat for a long time, which isn't fair. All I want to do is play football with a smile on my face and contribute to my team. I respect all decisions that are made by the coaching staff. I play with fantastic players and grateful to do so, which I know every week is a challenge. I will continue to fight for this badge, no matter what." Effectively, you could say Sancho there is questioning Erik Ten Hag and what he's had to say. Can this relationship be repaired?
Difficult one. I mean, listen to all the clips there, and the only one who, was a manager was Mick McCarthy, and like myself, I've not managed. Darren Bent and others who talked, and we're all coming from an angle of what you think, was enough. Clearly, isn't in Ten Hag's mind. It was the guy that backed him as well, and saying he's a scapegoat, I think's wrong because he wasn't, because there was a lot of backing. The club, behind what. What do you gain as a manager by discarding a player? First of all, we backed him and said, look, he's got issues. We'll help him. We'll do everything we can. He sent him to Holland. And, all the things were put in place to make Jadon try and play the best football he can. Mm-hmm. Now, from there, we've got to the start of this season. He's found himself out the side, really, and not really necessary for Ten Hag at this moment. I don't see any benefits for Ten Hag. I know, look, he had the Ronaldo issue the year before. That was all about power struggle at Man United. Jadon Sancho's issues are different. And I think he's tried to do things in the right way. And it hasn't... I don't think he's... From my way of thinking, the way the story's gone, it feels like Ten Hag isn't believing he's doing enough to overcome his issues. Feels,
yeah.
That's how I see it.
There will be some that will say, look, because Ten Hag has brought up the mental health side of things when it came to Jadon Sancho, hence sort of being left out of squad involvement for a period of time. There will be some that have said it was wrong that was even brought up in public. That should have been kept in-house. And it's the fact that this is still going on and that Erik Ten Hag is continuing to talk about him personally. Some are saying, is this the right thing to do to help a player that clearly has in the past had some mental health issues, as alluded to previously? He clearly is unhappy now, Jadon Sancho, but also the manager is unhappy, and you imagine might feel a little betrayed by what's been said by Sancho in the sense of questioning his authority. You have seen in the past how Erik Ten Hag has dealt with players. You mentioned Ronaldo, for example. He's been outspoken about Marcus Rashford in the past as well. What's going to happen next? Because I talk about reintegrating. Can that happen? Is it a case of, because let's not forget, they've got 4 months until the January transfer window opens, so they're going to have an unhappy player if he's not used. Well,
the market will tell you that Jadon isn't going to be sought after like he once was. He's not played well since he's got to Manchester United. I've joined clubs. I've not played well. And you find yourself, you're a big club. Manchester United won't wait for a player that's been indifferent for quite a long... he's played plus 70 games for you. OK, in all competitions, but he's played about 70 times for Man United. And there's been very few highlights. He's had his moments, but they've invested 70-odd million in him in that.
How would you feel if Ten Hag was your manager and he was speaking about you like he has with Sancho?
Well, first of all, I'd question myself first and think, have I been given everything? I'd look at myself, and if I wasn't happy, I would go and knock on his door and want to have a chat with him and see what he says, and then I'll respond to that. And would probably have said, well, I didn't particularly like it that you spoke openly about me, about my levels of commitment to the club. I would have asked the questions. I wouldn't have said it via social media. I mean, look, that wasn't available then, but I wouldn't have done it anyway because I just don't... It's a rift you need to avoid. Yes. I can't see what Ten Hag would gain from having a young player. And by the way, Ajax is a football club that's built on bringing through young players, and he was very successful with that at a football club. So he's probably thinking, well, okay, the old phrase is give him a kick up the backside, give him a reality check, all things like this to try and get more out of him. How does he react? I've tried this, that didn't work. So if I react like this, see if this just nudges him a bit, gets him to play his best football. He will want him to produce his best game and love playing with a smile on his face for Manchester United. Don't see that at all. Don't see that. And he might say, well, I'm not really getting the opportunity. Well, if you're playing at a club and you're playing okay is not a standard at Man United. It's not. You'll be gone. You'll be gone at all the top 6 clubs.
Will he play again?
I'd like to think he would, but he's got to get a bit real about maybe I need to win the manager over. Maybe I need to prove. When I spoke about Eddie Nketiah 2 weeks ago about his attitude.
Yes.
And Arteta selected him purely by his training.
Okay. How his behaviour around the
that to me
ground,
is the greatest way you can react, because you get questioned every time you cross the white line in football. Whether it's the fans, whether it's your teammates, whether your coaches, staff, they'll all talk about your performance. That is just natural. We all do that. And unfortunately, I don't think there's too many Man United players to say fans that will go, yeah, he's done really well for us. It's a bit unfair. They're not thinking that. They'll be thinking, you're quite fortunate even to be close to the first 11.